Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry. Today I'm down in the studio. I have a few things to do. It's not too cold, but it's a little too chilly for what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to build a small fire in this wood stove. A lot of this wood that we use is deadfall off our own property here. Well, some of it had to be trimmed up, either because the tree was dying, it got split by wind, or has some other defect that would cause a problem. Now we have 40 acres here. There's a lot of wood that was pushed down probably 50 years ago, maybe a little bit longer ago than that. But because we don't have much rain, it doesn't really decompose very quickly. So today I'm using a mixture of old Christmas trees we have, pieces of cedar that we have harvested off the property. Again, it's all deadfall or culls that have had to come out. I need a little bit more, so there's a couple more pieces. Now, Irene and I start these fires in two different ways. I know that. She's going to be a little surprised today. But I use the Instant On torch that's down here in the studio. Now that fire started. I use the torch because I want to heat up the volume of air that goes up in the stack, because there's a 90-degree elbow about 3.5 feet above the stove. That affects the draw. By using that torch, I heat enough of the air up that it will start drawing. It's drawing just fine now. This cast iron tea kettle is on top of the stove. It's awfully dry here. Using this tea kettle will put some moisture into the air. That really helps Irene with her sinuses. Irene's up taking a class right now. She's online with her enamel instructor. What I'm going to do is repair this kiln door. There's insulation right here, and it broke. We're looking to see if we can find another piece that is exactly the same, but in the meantime I'm going to try to glue this together with some furnace cement. It's not exactly what I'd prefer to use, but it's what I have. The reason why I wanted the temperature to be up in here is because I want to make sure that that refractory cement, furnace cement, cures correctly. So I'll get started. I'm going to go ahead and take this piece off here so I can glue all these pieces back together. I'm continuing the process of getting ready to rebuild this piece of insulation for Irene's bead kiln. Now this is a very important piece of equipment for her in her business because it's used to anneal the glass beads that she makes so they don't break, or at least they're harder to break. This insulation material is very, very fragile. It's been used for quite a number of years, and with age it gets more and more fragile. This is actually made up of a bunch of different layers that have been compacted together. I'm going to try gluing this back together, cementing it back actually, with some high temperature furnace cement. I had some high temperature refractory cement, which is a little different. It's not quite as viscous as this is, but I'm going to give this a shot. I put a piece of paper underneath the pieces so that I don't stick these pieces of insulation to the top of her kiln. Now this stuff has about the consistency of toothpaste. The nice thing about it is that it's gray, so you can see it when you start putting it on. Well, there comes another piece of the insulation off. That's to be expected. I want to have a thin film of this cement on all the surfaces. Now I just need to let this cure for a while. I'm going to take a look at the instructions and see how long I have to let it set. Now I have to let this set for 24 hours before I can heat it up. Hopefully these pieces will stay together for that entire cure time. And once that's done, I'm going to have to make a different piece of insulation to go in here. I have some fiber insulation that's specifically for high temperature. I used it to build a melting furnace. I've used it to build glassworking equipment before. So I'm pretty sure I can make something that's going to work here. The trick is going to be making sure that all the pieces will hold together. Well, that's it for this piece of the project for today. I have more things to go do. This is kind of a typical thing that goes on here at our homestead. We have a lot of things that are getting up in years, so they're tending to break down more than we'd like. And when that happens, we have to repair it. We live off-grid, about 50 miles from any real technician, so if you want it done, it's best to do it yourself. Thanks for watching. I hope that you find this interesting. I'll be interested to see how this turns out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, because we have a lot more stuff going on here at the homestead.